I'm just about ready to start painting the Aggressor Class Star Destroyer from Mel Miniatures. I just wanted to show you really quickly what it looks like after I've primed it. After priming, a lot of the details really do come out. And I just want to show that off a little bit before I get started. I really do like a lot of the details in the engines here. Some of them are there. And here on the, I guess, wings, you can see each wing has one turbo laser. So these didn't have a lot of defensive firepower. They required a fairly substantial fleet in order to protect them. This area up here on both sides is very mechanical. I'm going to try and do something to really highlight that, make it pop. Did decide to go with a more imperial style paint job. There we go with the ion cannon on the top and the turbo laser on the bottom. I did notice in the model right here, right in the center of the wing, between the two guns, there is a hangar bay in there. So we'll see if we're going to do anything about that. It's kind of cool looking. Okay, I'm going to base coat the entire thing in Administratum Gray. I'm going to get started on this, but I'm not going to have you watch me paint the whole thing gray, and we'll be back. Okay, so I finished up the gray. It did require a couple of coats because I do water down my paint significantly. But now what we're going to try and do is, especially in this area right here, there's this, it's almost like a window with all this mechanical stuff in there. I do want to try and highlight that. So I'm going to experiment with something here. So I'm only going to do one side first and try and get it all the way, up to a certain point, and decide if I like it or not. If I do, then we'll do it to a couple other areas. If not, then we'll go back. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take some Mechanicus Standard Gray, which is a much darker gray, first, and then I'm going to fill all this area in with that. Of course, watered down and everything. We don't want to lose any detail in there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come back with the Administratum gray, this light gray, and we're going to dry brush over it to bring out all of the raised areas again. In some ways it's going to be like a really, really, really dark wash in there, but I do want this area to stand out on the model. So let's do this one side here and see how it goes. Okay, so this is dry now, so I'm going to use my Administratum Gray and dry brush this in, try and bring out some highlights and see how that goes. Now, one thing with the dry brush, you don't really need to water it down so much because you're taking it out of the brush anyways. I always like to be a little conservative on the dry brush to begin with, and if I need more paint, then I'll... Okay, we're back. So I finished the dark gray with the dry brush. on the mechanical panels, a couple of grates, big grates in the rear here. Also, there's a little one on top here. Okay. So now we're gonna put a wash on it. I've got a mixture here. It's Nuln oil, but significantly watered down, and a little bit of dish soap just to let it settle. I don't want this to be too dark on the model. And once again, just because this is a really big model, it makes it difficult and probably boring for me to film the entire thing. I'm gonna get started, but once I'm underway, I will probably cut off the video and come back when it's all done, because the process will be the same throughout. Okay, I'm going to start with some dry brushing. The model got a little bit darker in a couple of places than I wanted after the wash. So we're going to see if doing a dry brush here and some highlighting is going to get that the way I want it. Okay, so we finished that dry brushing. Looks a bit better, cleaner. I like the way it looks a little bit better. I might go back and dry brush a little bit more, but I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. Just wanted to show you some of the details of both of our guns in the front there. I did leave the guns a little bit dirtier than the rest. I also left the engines in the back here a bit dirtier than everything else. A lot of nice details in there. The more you go through this, the more the details start popping out. So what I'm going to do right now is both on the two weapons and the, I guess it's 8 engines. We got the 4 bigger ones, and then there's 2 smaller ones on either side. I'm gonna start doing some glow in those. So the way I understand it is this top one's supposed to be the ion cannon, the bottom one's supposed to be the turbo laser. Turbo laser is gonna be red, ion cannon is gonna be blue. There's also this one little port here on the turbo laser side that I'm gonna actually color that in a little bit as well with some red and orange. And I'm gonna do this in layers. So I'm gonna start with a darker coat of red inside the barrel and in these 2 ports, and then a darker blue for the ion cannon and all of the engines. And then I'm going to go back afterwards and we're going to do a really light blue for the ion cannon and engines, and we're going to go orange and maybe even to yellow in the turbo laser. Okay, that part was fairly hard to video, but I do have some blue and some red in there. Now, the turbo laser slot, their gun, is much deeper than I thought, so the red isn't going to seem to show very well there, but I did get the red in here. All of the blue in the other areas. So now we're going to go lighten them up. I don't have any orange, so I've mixed some up. And I'm going to try and just highlight the turbo laser areas with a little bit of orange, see how that goes. Alright, I've finished it. The only thing I haven't done is seal it yet, but I do want to just make sure that I'm happy with it before I put the sealer on it. But otherwise, it's essentially done. Give it a little spin so you can see it while I'm talking about it. Pretty happy with the way it came out. It is just traditional Imperial Gray. I really do like the engines back here, the detail in them. That came with the 3D print from Mel was really great. I really like the back end of the model. I know someone who's said that they weren't really fond of the bridge. I think the bridge is okay for me. I mean, the shield generators are a little bit off, not quite that standard Imperial design. I think Mel did a good job capturing this little mechanical bit here. You know, looking at the reference pictures, they're mostly like video game type pictures, and it's really much smoother than what Mel has here. Mel has kind of put in a lot of details, and I'm not sure if he had other reference material or if he just did that in order to make it look a little bit more in line with the models that we have. The guns in here came out right. I tried to, you know, lightly get in there with some red and some blues, just to denote the ion and the turbo lasers. But that's it. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't yet, please press subscribe. I'm going to be doing a lot of Legion stuff coming up. I will still be doing some Armada stuff as well, but I'll be doing a lot of Legion stuff coming up, especially for the Rebels, because I've decided to go with Rebels first. I'm splitting kits with somebody who's taking the Imperials, so I'll be doing Rebels and hopefully some bat reports. I finally got a tripod and some other stuff for the videos, so hopefully I can do some bat reps for both Armada and for Legion coming up. But thank you very much. We'll see you soon.